We're all in it together, kid.
Hello, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if you've only just arrived. Please have a look at the other videos, see if you like them. It'll be cool. It'll be nice to meet you, Jim. This is a monthly roundup. So this is the roundup of June. So June was full of book events. And I did recently do a video about how there's a whole load of stuff I'm not reading because of the book events. But having said that, because I don't read immensely fast, it means that I only actually read two books for each event. I'll talk about that in a second. So I'll talk about the books I've read in a second, but I'm going to go through the videos I went through first in June, and then I'll talk about the books I read, and then I'll just finish off by saying what I didn't read. One big thing I didn't read, which I should have done. So June started off with a birthday / anniversary vlog. So that was really cool. It was basically a big old book haul, and I think I talked about 26 books or something in that. And we went to Liverpool, Manchester and York for my birthday and for our wedding anniversary, and I found loads of bookshops. It was really cool. So there's a vlog about that. I did a video shortly after that, which is a response video to Matt Wall, who did a video about making your poetry better by getting used to performing. And I did write, but I videoed me saying about how I think all life is a performance. So if you're kind of intrigued by that thought, I do think it's true. I think all life is a performance in different ways, and we kind of circumnavigate that in different ways according to how much we want to perform. If you're interested in that video, that's on there as well. I did a video which was a response video to Anne Novella, who did a video about buying books and about book pricing, and I did my own take on that. I've done 2 Book Trek book reviews and 2 June on the Range book reviews this month, like last June. I did a little video about my dog, Ralph, who's sitting next to me. He had to go to the vets, so I just took a quick one about that because I was really pleased that he's fine. I did a mid-year freak out tag. I did the Loomis book tag, so that was made by Andrew from It Came From The Page, who's a fantastic channel. Sorry about that. My camera just fell down. And I did a book review of Tau Zero by Pal Anderson, which I liked, and I wasn't sure if I would like it, and I did really like it. I did the Tell the Truth tag about the way we watch BookTube, which was quite an interesting tag. And then I finished off the month with the How Do We Rate Our Books tag, which is, to me, it just makes sense what I do. Just, the 5-star thing is pretty clear to me. You have to make a decision because it's an odd number. If it was an even number, you could go down the middle if you weren't sure. But yeah, anyway, watch that if you're interested. So those are the videos I made for June. Goodreads, my tally at the moment for reading books is 42. I've read 42 books this year. This year, I've read 42 books this year. And my goal was 70 books. I usually read around that sort of number. Well, usually more, to be fair, but I usually aim for that number because there's no point in aiming higher because you'll get stressed. So I aim for slightly lower than what I end up reading. And to be fair, even though it says I'm something like 5 or 6 books ahead, I do want to start writing my new book. So I've said this before on the channel. I think I said it in the last month. And I thought I was going to start by now. I need to reread The Brown Yelp Gang because it's a sequel to that. I need to make some notes. I know what the plot is. I can't wait to write it. I know it's going to be funny. I need to write it. So yeah, that will probably slow down my reading. So I want to start that in July. See what happens. I'm buddy reading 1984 with a bunch of other people. It's like a group read. I'm reading 1984, and I was thinking about contacting Dave and Olive to talk about the Adrian Tchaikovsky book that we're going to read together. So that, to be fair, that's a big book, so that would take me a couple of weeks. So again, that might get in the way of my writing, but Anyway, I'm that many books ahead for the Goodreads challenge, which is fine. Again, I always say this, I don't put that challenge down to stress me out. I just do it just to tally my reading, and I think it's an interesting thing to notice if you're reading less than normal and you can think, oh, am I giving it much time? So, what have I read this in June? I started off the month by reading a very famous SF Masterworks book by Roger Zelazny called Road Marks, and I was disappointed. Didn't really like it that much, so I didn't really connect to it, which is a shame. And Roger Zelazny is one of the first authors I read when I was a teenager. Again, I've mentioned this a few times. I've been mentioning a few of these authors lately, and I had Unicorn Variations and The Last Defender of Camelot when I was about 14 or 15. So I read those two books then. And anyway, Road Marks, there's some interesting concepts in it, it's got to be said, but it didn't engage me at all. So I found that a little bit of a hard read. It was a bit like, I was a bit disassociated with it, I guess. It's not badly written or anything, but didn't really get me going. So there's that one. And then I read a book I really, really liked. So this was a book I got from, I think it was Liverpool, it might be Manchester, for my birthday money, and that's The Twilight Man, which is a graphic novel biography of Rod Serling. So you probably know, if you're a regular viewer, that I am hugely, massive fan of The Twilight Zone, and Rod Serling created The Twilight Zone. It was his baby, and this is a really good book that talks about his life. He sort of recalls his time in the army and his time trying to get his writing established and respected and all that. It's really good, and I like the way it's drawn. There's references to the Twilight Zone in it. There's a little top and tail storytelling device, which is quite nice in it. It's really good, really good. Twilight Man by Corin Chardme, biography of Rod Serling. I really like that. And then I read the first one of my Book Trek books, which was Star Trek New Frontier. It's subtitled House of Cards, and it's not mentioned there, but House of Cards is the other title. And it was all right, but as you see from my review, I thought it was a bit lacking, and I've ended up buying the second book. This is book one. I've ended up buying the second book to see if it helps out, and I might end up, if I read that and I think it starts making a little bit more sense, I might end up concluding that it should have been both those books put together. I don't know, but anyway, it was all right. Bit disappointed. And then after that, I read this Book Trek book. So this is a book that combines lots of different sort of casts, if you like, lots of different crews of Star Trek. You've got quite a big part played by Tuvok in it. There's a big part played by Ezri Dax in it. Picard and Riker have a big part in it, and Deanna Troi and Beverly Crusher. Lots of characters in it that you'd be familiar with. Worf's in it a lot. And I really like this. I thought it was good, and I'm looking forward to reading the other two. And I really want to read the other two before I forget what happens in that one, so I need to make sure that happens. But I did like that. That was good. And then I read the first of my two Dune on the Range books, Troubled Range. I quite enjoyed it. It wasn't like earth-shattering, but it was all right. I think it's in 3 parts, and I enjoyed the first 2 parts more than the third part. First part especially I liked. If the rest of the book was like the first part, I would have said it was really good. But yeah, it's all right. I mean, J.T. Edson, he's everywhere in the second-hand shops, it seems. If you get a Western section, there's a lot of it's his stuff. But yeah, it was all right. It was good. It was good. It was good. It was good. And then I read this book I got for my birthday about Chris Foss, and this is a massive, like, coffee table hardback book. So loads of big pictures of his covers. as well as some biographical stuff in there. In between, not masses of it. Where is it? Yeah, so you've got stuff, you've got some parts of the book where it's about him. But yeah, I really like that book. That was really good. It was a lovely present, and it made me want to have more books about sci-fi illustrators. And I've seen them over the years, like what's that guy? Somebody Burns, Jim Burns. Is it Jim Burns? I've seen lots of his books around in secondhand shops. But yeah, like to find a book on Pennington, that kind of thing. And then the last book I read for June was True Grit, and that's probably the best book of the month. It was really, really good. Loved it, absolutely loved it. And I recently did a book about characters, and it was inspired by this book because I really liked Matty. Essentially the main character is the point of view character. It's a first person book. Really, really good book. Absolutely, yeah, just awesome. So that was what I read in June. What I didn't read, I need to mention this because I was convinced that this was going to be my main focus of the month, and it ended up not being at all, which is a bit weird. But I borrowed this from the library, Elmore Leonard's. That's why it's a bit shiny. It's got a library covering. It's from the library. Look. Elmore Leonard's Complete Western Stories. I want to read some of this before I take it back. There's loads of events still going on. I can hopefully read some of this in July, but like I was saying earlier, I do want to start my book. But lots of people who read this say they love it. I like Elmore Leonard anyway, so I'm a little bit annoyed with myself. Annoyed is a strong word. I'm a little bit frustrated that I didn't get to start this one. So I thought I'd mention it in the video. There's a few other things I wanted to start, but this in particular, I thought I was going to read lots of this one. So the Complete Western Stories by Elmore Leonard didn't happen. So we'll see. But there we are. That was my June. So lots of interesting stuff, dominated by those two events, but some nice things that were sort of in addition to that as well. And July is already on the go, and I've already read a couple of things, and I'm going to be group reading 1984 with a group with some other people, which is my third time reading that, which would be cool. And we'll see how we get on. And then it's leading up to Garb August, which will dominate August. So there we are. But thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of those books, and I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.
Picture